I'm going to color in the peacock today with markers. I wanted to kind of plan out what I wanted to do. So I created a couple plumes and tried to get a few ideas of what I wanted to do. These, if you look closely, the lines vary often, the lines and the colors. So I go from color to color and I switch it up often, versus something like this. This is a little more simple. I keep more colors consistent and I'll color almost the entire block in sometimes. It's really up to you how you want your final peacock art piece to look. So maybe you do want to go with the multiple variations, or you want to go with something a little more simple. So I'm going to start with the ones that are closer to me, or the smaller ones, and I'm going to first just copy this exactly the way I colored it in this example. And I might as well just leave these markers open because I'm going to use them over and over again. Now, one thing I noticed that I don't love about using the black marker, especially the washable one, is that when I'm coloring in this with yellow, it picks up some of that black and it kind of messes up the tip of my marker, and also it darkens and kind of muddies this. I'm coloring this in with the shape of the feather, and the reason why I'm doing that is when I get out to these larger plumes or feathers, it may make a difference how you color this in. If you look very closely at this, you can almost see these lines of how I colored it. You can see the lines because I put my marker over and followed that, created lines like that. And I think that really creates a nice effect. So if you look closely at this example, you'll see that I have also made multiple black lines here, and they're more condensed closer to the bottom of this feather, and then I start spreading them out a little more as I get towards the top, or not even the top, the middle. And what that does is it kind of creates a little shadow, because if you think about it, when a feather is tucked in there, it might have a little shadow in it. So because I want to alternate, I'm going to do this one a little differently. I'm going to make the inside yellow, then go with the orange, unfortunately this pink is looking very purple because of the black that's mixing with it. May be helpful to even wipe off your markers to get a better color here. So this one I want to keep more blue and green. Add in a touch of the pink here. And that kind of gives a little variation to the feather. So I'm just going to keep moving along here. I'm going to make this feather or plume match this one. And at this point, if you're going to be repeating the same thing over and over again, and you already know what you're doing, instead of changing every time, you can just go straight to the next one. Like, you know, this is going to be pink, so you can just do all your pinks first, or do all your yellows first. That way you don't have to keep switching back and forth between marker. Moving along here, I've finished up this layer of plumes and I'm ready to move on to my next, and I've decided to change up the plume versus using the same design. I'm just going to change it up a little more. I feel like I want something a little bit lighter to break up the monotony. And now I'll go back to yellow. That's really going to lighten up this picture, I think. So I've got my next layer down, and now I'm going to move on to the pretty much the last layer. There's only a few more spots showing here. So I have decided I am going to change it up one more time. I'm pretty much done with the plumes here. What I'm going to do is there's just a few tiny spots in between some of these plumes that I didn't get, and at first I was just going to color those, but I think I'm going to just color a couple of the really small ones black, and that way there is that sense of shadow behind it. So what I've decided to do for this area here is to color some of these that are closer to the body darker, similar to how I did the plumes. So I'm going to go from dark to light. And then I've kind of aligned the colors going from dark to light. So I'm just going to move on to each next color, and sometimes it's hard to tell, like this looks very dark. I was not expecting this color to be that dark. And I really want, now I'm going to work my way in because I want the outside of this very yellow. So let's just make all of the outside yellow. Because these are not perfectly in rows. So for this section here, I've decided to go from dark green to light green. But right now I'm skipping each half circle here, or scale, or whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going to come back, and the ones that I skipped, I'm going to go with a very light green to make it pop. So what I'm going to do for the spirals is I'm going to color them light blue. And then I'm going to take the next darker blue and I'm going to just color a portion of it, the bottom, and I'm trying to guess where there might be a shadow here. But as you can see, I'm going to probably color in the tip a little bit here. And I'm leaving the top of it light. So I'm going to make my light source coming from the top. So if there's a light source coming from the top, the bottom will be a little bit darker and the inside here. And so here I want to do a little dark in here and on the tip of the bottom here. For the crest, I want to keep it very light. I'm going to probably just use all yellow and orange because I want it to stand out. For the eye, I'm going to keep it a light blue, but notice what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a very small speck of it white towards the top. And that creates a reflection for the eye. So I've decided I'm going to make the body blue because a lot of the pictures that I see of peacocks, the body is blue. So there is some black around its eye. So I'm going to do that last. What I'll do is I'm going to make it a light blue just like these. I'm just going to go ahead and color this in. Just color the entire body in. And as you can see, the direction that you're coloring is visible. So now that I've colored that in once, I am going to color this bottom portion in one more time. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a darker tone. And I'm using the exact same color marker, not changing it up, but as you can see right now, I'm forming like a U shape here, and I'm doing that intentionally. And what I'm going to do is continue it all the way up the neck. And once I hit the portion of this neck, I'm going to stop coloring right here, and I'm just going to start coloring just the side of the neck here because I want it to be darker here. And right under the chin, it will be darker as well. Now the eye has some darkness around it, but I want to keep the white in there too because that's what shows the eye. So I'm going to just make it a little black right here. And I'm going to keep the rest white. So we're done here. You may want to just look it over and color in any little spots you may have missed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.